everybody, it's Calxiyn here. So this is gonna be our last video for a while in terms of analysis.
Christ.
Analysis. Like our last 40-minute video is not our last video, so y'all can stay right where you are. So anyway, I hope that if you guys enjoyed this video, you guys will join our Discord server or become patrons over on Patreon.
I suddenly realized that the controller wasn't plugged in.
Okay, and so yeah, we're talking about the final. I feel like that, honestly, that episode 13 was the hype one, and this was like tying up loose ends, getting everybody calm. Like, obviously we were still hyped for stuff, but like I feel like that everybody expected the finale to end off a cliffhanger or something, and I'm glad that it didn't. Like, it doesn't need to be overly dramatic for the last episode. Like, we just gotta cool the fuck down. I think that they did good. So let's talk about it, because I have 5 pages of notes today. Part of that is just because I wrote really big. I don't have my glasses on. That's always part of the reason. And so yeah, let's talk about it.
Part of it because you cannot edit for shit.
No. So I like how Ilya took down that dude peacefully, and then the bunny girl was like...
You almost said lesbian. You said bunny girl.
I was gonna say lamb, but I don't know why I thought she was a lamb when she's a bunny.
Lesbian.
I did not. I honestly thought lamb.
Bullshit.
Also, you guys should join our Discord server, by the way.
Okay, that's not
and our
nothing,
Patreon stuff. Anyways, so I like how...
Cal gets an itch in the back of her head whenever she feels like she hasn't whored herself out yet.
I feel like how Blake responded to Adam was very...
It's like the bat signal, but it never helped anybody.
Like, I feel like that she didn't give in to what he was saying, and I felt like that was really good, if you know what I mean, because he was like, oh, you're gonna be sorry, like, but Blake kept ignoring those, or like, I guess I still scare you, or you should fight me 1v1, like, obviously those are all tactics, for him to try to get some sort of advantage, but she just wasn't having it, and obviously that's the best outcome, so I like how she didn't let him, impact her in that way. That was nice. I like how she said, okay, so this was weird. This was a weird shot, but she said, I'm here for Haven, not you, and it zoomed in on her mouth, but I'm like, RWBY characters don't have lips
My
or
favorite
anything,
thing
so
is
it's a bit weird. Like,
yeah.
it was a bit of a weird zoom in, but I understand what they were trying to convey, and I appreciate it. I thought that was a nice line. Yeah, but Adam wants her to be afraid, and she's not, and that bothers him, so every other line he keeps saying, are you afraid yet? Are you afraid yet? But she doesn't give up that she is, if she is, right? I think that's very good. But I want to talk about Adam and, obviously, like, more stuff in other videos.
Can I just say that, like, man, Adam is a choke artist? Like, oh, what a loser. It was great. Anyways, yeah.
What does that mean?
Choke artist?
Yeah.
It's like, you know how choke is like when you screw up, like you were gonna do something?
Okay, yeah.
So choke artist is
so I also like how Adam's like, I've made some powerful friends while I was away, but I was like, did Hazel not, only 5 minutes ago, tell you to fuck right off? Like, did he not just tell, like, why are you using him as an example when Blake just saw him, like, leave you? You know what I mean?
Guys, like, I'm so serious. I have so many friends, they're really scary. No, seriously, stop laughing. Anyways. Yeah, Hazel.
And I like how Sun was like, where? And then Adam was just like, the fuck are you? And, but then, again, Sun was just kind of like, if your friends were here, I'm sure that they'd help you, but nobody seems to be helping you, bud. Like, I like that Sun has that sort of, like, sharpness to him now. Like, he didn't really have that sort of before, but I feel like now he has kind of an, like, a little edge, or a little, like, I don't know if this is a good example, but Sun reminds me of, like, a Swiss Army knife. Like, you can use him for just about anything, but now he also has, like, a pointy end.
So I feel like we should do, like, a proper Black Sun double up, because they're so gonna do Black Sun. They're gonna do Black Sun.
Really? That's not what people were saying because of this episode.
Really? Because they
Sun,
were so, like,
later...
friendly. They were like, hello.
Well, yeah, they're friends! What do you...
I'm just saying,
they're so
like,
friendly!
Listen, right, if all I'm saying is that if Sun was a girl, you'd be screaming lesbian right now, or if that was Yang doing this shit. So I'm just saying, like, but in all fairness, like, let's be equal
I mean,
here.
we can talk it, like, obviously we're gonna do videos after, so we are gonna eventually talk about it, but I think the most sort of telling moment for me, like, of course there was all of, like, the Blake and Yang sort of looks, but then there was also the fact that Sun kind of swiveled Blake around to go talk to Yang. You know what I mean? It wasn't really all about themselves, right? Does that make sense? You know what I mean? And so I don't get where you say Black Sun moment, other than like their little conversation in the courtyard.
And they're just like smiling at each other a lot. I'm like,
yeah,
listen,
that's just it's nice.
Yeah, all I'm saying is that if it was Yang I'm not saying it's gonna happen, which is what I said.
Even if Yang
all I'm saying is that if this
like
was
that, though, I don't
if this
think
was Yang,
if Ilya was like that, it would
gaying
be
the
different.
fuck out. You would be gaying.
But they're just
because one can gay and you'd be doing.
But Weiss has done that to RWBY like for the past couple episodes.
And people have been saying that Weiss is gonna be with people, one of their girls as well. Anyways, it's an idea.
I understand what you're saying, but I think that it's not necessarily a good argument to talk in hypotheticals because we don't really know what I would do. You know what I mean?
Cal, don't
we just don't.
Do not lie to yourself.
I'm saying we can't.
Do not.
We can't argue in hypotheticals. We don't know.
You know yourself well enough.
And I, as somebody that knows myself, I'm telling you that if they had an interaction, RWBY and Weiss have had interactions like that, and I don't think I've been like, that's gay.
Yang, like. Or even if it was Ilya or someone like that.
But Ilya is actually gay.
Or even Blake maybe dabbles. We don't know.
But I'm saying that like I think Weiss and RWBY have had similar interactions back in Volume 3, and I don't think that I freaked out over them. So
not as I remember it.
Yeah, and so that's what I'm saying. Because in my reaction, I said, "Oh, that's cute." Like I
Listen,
did. Like
I understand that you're trying to be impartial, but you're not.
It's not about being impartial. You're just wrong. Like that's all that it is. You're just wrong.
I think you will. I think.
Because there's a difference between like a romantic moment and like, hey son, I'm like, don't get yourself killed out there, honey. Like it's a bit different.
I think
you know what I mean?
You would not be able to tell the difference, or at least I can speak for myself, and I definitely wouldn't. Anyways, continue, please.
I don't think that you.
Cal, continue.
No, I don't care. I don't think that you understand that boys and girls can be friends because you just don't have.
No,
any.
But Cal, you do not have. Most of my friends are women. You do not have friends. You have not left this basement for a reason other than higher education for months.
I know.
No, I'm sitting you down, motherfucker.
But,
you are learning.
You know what my mom said is that.
Your mom says that you also don't have friends as well.
Hold on. Earlier we were at the hairdresser. This is
Nancy, get in here. Back me up.
But my mom said earlier when we were at the hairdresser that it's not that I'm not social, but I analyze people and decide whether people are worth my time or not. And if they're not worth my time, I won't talk to them.
I agree with all of these.
I think that's a great assessment because that's basically who I am.
And you never anyways, please continue.
And so that's what I'm saying. I don't
This video is going to be 2 hours long.
I don't care.
I know you don't.
I
don't care about anything.
I wasn't even at that part yet, and for some reason you brought up like the shipping videos that we haven't even done. Yeah, but I'm not saying it doesn't give merit to the ship. I'm saying that it's also, like, I don't know. It's just that's something that I do to a friend. That's all I'm trying to say.
You're a terrible friend. You would never do that.
What do you mean?
You're not emotional. Friend. You would be, do it, bitch! You wouldn't be like, well, how about let's just take, like, the slow route.
What do you mean?
You do not know how mean you are, Cal.
Whatever. But yeah, they had a nice... Whatever. They had a nice.
Whatever.
Well, no, because I'm a little peeved at you.
Listen, I speak the
for
truth.
Trying to say what I would and wouldn't think when I am right here and telling you exactly what I thought. And we didn't even get to that part of the episode yet, so you don't even know what I wrote down, you bitch ass.
Projecting
yeah, you were projecting a lot, actually.
But I feel as though that you and I are not too different.
We all know who.
You and I are not too different.
We all know who was okay with Black Sun in the Black Sun video, and who wasn't okay with Black Sun, and the one that wasn't okay was you. So I think you're projecting on me a little bit.
We've talked about in the Bumblebee episode, we've been like, well, you know, the scene when they have a nice moment together in the room together.
In the burning candle?
Not in the burning candle.
Yeah, and that was nice. That was
and it's
nice.
similar, and you said it was nice, and then you said it in a gay way, Cal. So.
I mean... Like, it's nice.
Listen, motherfucker, let's move on. I'm tired of this already.
Well, then you shouldn't have brought it up. What's the next thing?
Anyway, I didn't want to talk about it for this long!
You just said it! Whatever. But yeah. Anyway, we're gonna do updates to the ship videos, so I don't understand why you're wasting all our content.
You make the show less fun for everyone involved with this goddamn channel.
I'm deciding what's worth my time.
I'm glad for Al's sake that he stopped doing this with you. That motherfucker was like, not even the Atlantic Ocean could separate me with your bullshit. I needed another warm body between it. And then I was that warm body, Cal. And honestly, I said I was fine with it. Now I'm kind of mad.
Why?
Anyways, continue.
Because I'm harassing you over your preference before homosexuals? See, Al would never say that, though. Al would never say that to me, and then Al would never say that they're definitely doing a ship or not.
Because you know what? Sometimes that motherfucker... I don't know anyone.
Anyways, you don't know anything. Anyways, so Blake had a nice little fight with Adam there. Like, they had a nice little, like, shots were exchanged. And I like how Blake recognized that Adam was trying to lure them away and was like, hey, son, how about you don't do that? And I also like how she said now he gets to feel,
The fight scene, though. It wasn't a fight scene.
It wasn't a fight scene. It was like, it happened for a second.
Part of me wish it was just like, come on, RWBY, give me one more fight scene. Because, like, that last one with Raven and Cinder was amazing, but, like, you know, anyways.
Okay. Yeah, and so I really like that little scene with them. I think it was a nice scene. If they are gonna do Black Sun as a ship, that was a good scene for shipping fodder.
So you admit it?
Yeah, I'm saying it would, like, it could go, like, it's good backup for, yeah, I'm saying it's good backup
Which was my point!
Anyways. Yeah, but I said that it's not just good backup for the ship, it's also good, like, a good backup for them being, like, partners
I don't
in
give
this,
a shit.
you know what I mean?
I don't give a shit, you agreed with me, I'm moving on with my life. Continue.
What do you mean? Yeah, but you're saying, oh, Black Sun's definitely gonna happen because they looked at each other.
Thinking,
like, that's what you were saying.
I suspect it's gonna happen.
Yeah, but I'm saying that it would, if it does happen, that is good for the ship. Like, that little piece of dialogue there is good for the ship. But I'm not saying that means anything definite.
And I'm saying that you would say the same thing, if not more, if that was too
I don't think anything is definite, though. That's the thing, is that...
I don't know, all of a sudden you decided to be neutral. Please continue.
It's not about being neutral.
Please continue.
Anyway, and so yeah, I did really like that scene between them. But what I was trying to say before Hunter continuously interrupted me is that
you knew what you got when you made me do this.
Whatever the case, it embellishes their relationship, and you kind of see how we've gotten to the place that we did in Volume 1 all the way to Volume 5, and I think that's very interesting. I want to do a separate video talking about if Sun is actually going to stick around, because as we hear at the end of the episode, they are going to Atlas. And now that Sun is back in Mistral with his team, he kind of has to make a choice whether he'll be there for his team in this very difficult time where Lionheart has been stabbed in his office, the school is under questionable leadership, or if he'll decide to go with Blake. And so I would like to do a separate video on that, but the reason why I disagree with you, Hunter, is I actually think they may be abandoning Sun for a while. Because,
nice to know that you brought that up at an opportune
Well, I wanted to do a different video on it, and we still will. But my thinking in terms of that is that, again, Sun is finally back with his team. He can't just abandon his team again, and I don't think that his team would be entirely willing to get dragged into this, and that Ozpin may suggest the same thing, that the more people that know about this, the worse that it will be for them. And so while he will explain to Blake what is going on, well, that's going to be another video. While
or not in the same video.
Yeah, or
like
in a different, it's different the same.
Aspect.
Yeah,
it'll be.
And so
about.
we're going to talk about it eventually, but. In terms of Sun sticking around, like, I think that Ozpin may say, like, listen, like, the least amount of people that come with us, the better, because not everybody can know about the relic, but Blake can sort of make the argument that they don't really need to necessarily know about everything, or at least that Ozpin will say, hey, like, listen, Sun, if you want to come with us, we're gonna tell you this information, it's your choice, but, like, you can't bring your friends, because that's 3 more people to know about the relic that we don't need to. You understand what I mean? And so it's gonna be about, I think that Ilya and Sun will get a pass from Ozpin if that's the case. And again, I want to talk about this in a separate video, so I won't go into detail entirely. But I think that Ilya will obviously choose to go with Blake no matter what, but Sun is obviously a leader to his team, and if his team doesn't want to go, I think that he's too much of a admirable person just to leave them. To an extent when they really, really need him. And so I'm wondering if maybe, not that we'll never see him again, but they may leave him for a couple volumes while they deal with stuff in Atlas, that's all. And that, obviously, Vacuo was Sun's home, and so when we get to the Vacuo arc, he may make some sort of return. But that's kind of my bare bones thoughts on that. Obviously, I want to do more about that. But yeah, that's why I'm sort of thinking that they are going to have these last nice little moments together, because there is going to be this departure where Sun and Blake have to say goodbye for a while, because, you know, Ozpin's going to be like, listen, like, this is too many people knowing about the relic. You can come if you want, Sun, but I would advise for your team to maybe not. Maybe don't.
Yeah. I don't need fucking Gavin Free and metrosexual blue hair and the
to know about the relic and whatever. So yeah, that's anyway. So I just wanted to clear that up real quick. But I do want to do a separate video on that.
Will there be a return of Neptune, do you think?
Well, that's basically what that video is. If Sun's team does all come with him, which I don't think they will, and I think that it would be kind of shitty for Sun to just leave his team again.
Also, like,
in their time of need.
Neptune, sure, okay, maybe, but like the rest of the characters, they're nothing. They're nothing.
But that's something that, again, we have to discuss in another video, I guess. So obviously we have the 6 more months to kind of debate about that. But yeah, I don't know. Like, sometimes people just sort of come and go, and I think that Sun may be leaving us soon, and so we are gonna get if they had a kiss goodbye or something, and then they all went to Atlas and we didn't see Sun again for another 3 volumes. I think that would be a sweet way to kind of end stuff, you know, if that makes sense. Anywho's, so let's talk about...
Elia would be creeping in the back. Just like, you should have got on that boat. I got her, motherfucker.
Yeah, well, Ilia's gonna be like, Sun's not coming with us. Anyway, so we're gonna talk about Raven now, because I wanna, the White Fang stuff is basically out of the way. But yeah, again, I'm very excited for that video where we talk about...
Not a train.
talk about Sun's...
It's a train when it's me.
I think Ilia is definitely gonna come with, though, but that's another story.
Yeah, she was built up so much, no way you could just leave her after that.
But again, because Sun has the rest of his team to worry about, I don't know if Ozpin will be like, yes, I'll let you, all 4 of the McFucks know about the relic. You know what I mean? Like, who are you again? Like, you didn't even go to Beacon. Like, Ozpin's gonna be like, who? But anyway, that's fine. So let's talk about Raven. So, I think my notes are confused. So, it's...
They do look like the scribblings of a madman, but I digress.
So, it seems to be evident that, Raven killed the Spring Maiden now, because Yang starts...
And Vernal was just
to talk.
Someone who was...
No. So, don't say that yet. Oh my goodness, where am I now? Oh, sorry, I'm a little confused. Well, I forgot a giant piece of stuff here. Oh,
you're so organized.
Okay, yeah. Wow. So I like how, Blake just jumps on Hazel's head. Like, that was the highlight of my life right there. Like, I think I like Ozpin smacking Lionheart with the cane more, not gonna lie, or Oscar, I should say. But you know what? Blake doing that's definitely up there, and I like the interactions between Blake and Weiss. Like,
my favorite was Mercury just hitting the floor at a
well, that's later.
Like, damn it! And I'm like,
I like how Weiss was just like, oh, I thought you were more of the quiet one, and then Blake's just like, not today. But that was fun. Also, I like how they asked RWBY what's the plan is, and then RWBY yells out checkmate, which is again a reference to their team attack from yeah, so that was nice. I really appreciate that Blake is now back, and I can't wait to do like volume 6 prediction videos about all the conversations that they could have, but we're just gonna focus on like this episode for a while. So yeah, they still remember. I thought that was nice. I feel like most of this video has been Black Sun talk, so now we gotta keep going.
Keep it gay, kids.
So Raven's like, bitch ass, I warned you, and this wasn't personal and all that. And then Raven says, like, well, I knew you could handle it. You're my daughter after all. And I'm like, okay, Raven, like, calm down with that, please. And so Yang explains, or Yang says that Raven opened the door. So Yang basically caught out Raven for being the maiden. And that, basically that Ozpin told us how the Spring Maiden powers work, and then Raven's like, I'm sure he told you plenty. And so Yang obviously wants to know what happened, and Raven killed the last Spring Maiden, basically.
It was a really good dialogue, really good acting, voice acting from the two.
Some of the dialogue was a bit weird, but I guess if you never knew your mom for 17 years, and then you had to have this conversation with her. Like, it wasn't exactly what I thought was gonna happen, but I'm not saying it was entirely wrong either. Like, who really knows? Yeah, so some of the dialogue was weird at times, but at the same time, I'm like, this is realistic dialogue for two people that are related, but have no idea what to do with one another, basically. Because obviously I have personal experience. Anyways.
That's sad.
So...
I digress.
Raven tries to explain that she gave her mercy because...
Are we moving beyond that bit of depressing
because
shit?
Raven said that she tried to give her mercy because she was inexperienced, she just wasn't learning, and she would have been hunted all of her life, so instead of giving her a life of being hunted, she just killed her. And I agree with that to an extent, but now that we know that Ozpin has the Maiden Power machine, couldn't they have just, like, taken the Maiden Powers from her and put them in another girl if she wasn't doing well?
I mean, I think that she needs to die first.
Okay, right? Well that's... I guess
so,
that...
it'd be like, hey kid, not for nothing, right? We're gonna have to kill you.
I'm just saying, if that machine could have helped her live, because we don't know how it works on an alive person.
Yes, that's true.
So... what am I trying to say? If that could have done it, then Raven kind of killed her for no reason, because Ozpin could have just fixed everything. But, I don't know. Do you agree with Raven here? Because I agree with her. Like, why would you want a life...
Of course you would. Anyways.
Well, why would you want to be hunted all of your life? You know what I mean? Like, if she'd really be hunted all of her life and put into this fear of having to run away forever from scary-ass people like Salem,
I don't think other people should be able to make the decision of whether or not you should live or not.
Oh, well, yeah, obviously.
So, and that seems to be what happened. So, you know.
I feel like sometimes, though, people don't know what's best.
Well, of course you think that, Cal, because you're a narcissist. But other people assume are fairly...
Like, obviously, bodily autonomy, like, autonomy.
Sorry, what? Aunt-tony? What did you say? What was that?
Autonomy.
Autonomy. Near autonomy. Anyways, continue.
But obviously, like, she has a point, okay? And if the Spring Maiden was too afraid to die, well, she got the power, so that's kind of her fault. You know what I mean? Like, with great power comes great responsibility.
Well, she never asked for that.
You don't know!
At least Peter Parker was fucking around in the lab with spiders.
We don't know what happened to the last Spring Maiden, though. What if the last Spring Maiden wanted them?
I mean, yeah, but maybe they didn't. It was the last person you thought of. Like, what if I thought of, like, I don't know, I can't think of someone.
Great. Anyways.
Joan Rivers, she's already dead. But what if Joan Rivers was the Spring Maiden, and then she was like, I'm thinking about, I don't know, J-Lo right now, and then J-Lo got the powers. And then J-Lo would be like, wait a minute.
But you understand what I mean? We don't know if the last Spring Maiden accepted the...
I don't know why I'm
accepted the burden, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because it could have been, like, it could be a case of somebody is dying of sickness, and as they pass away, they think of the last person, because they have chosen that person prior.
Yeah, what if she
Does that make sense? Like, what if she was the Spring Maiden's apprentice and supposed to get it and was just shit? You understand what I'm saying, though?
But it could be anyone. It could have been a nurse. It could have been the person, like, a girl that was just volunteering at the hospital. We don't know.
Yeah, but you understand what I mean? Like, that's an example of somebody getting the Spring Maiden powers on purpose. Whereas you don't think that, like, whereas you're saying that it was accidental and she never wanted it. A good example is if the last Spring Maiden was dying, Ozpin had already picked out a candidate and got her to think of her, basically, right? So that kind of is an example of where the last Spring Maiden could have wanted the powers, but have been committal, so to say, right?
Yeah, but what if that, but I mean, like, maybe it's just me, like, if I was sitting in the room and I was about to die and I was like, oh man, I gotta think about this apprentice, but then, like, I don't know, like, Heaven is a Place on Earth came on and I'm like, oh shit, now I'm thinking about Cyndi Lauper, no! And then entirely
well,
different
you're,
person,
like, you're a little ADHD,
That's
so
true.
I can't, I mean, you're just ADHD, like, you're not a little.
Oh man, oh god.
Like, that's just you, so nothing wrong with that.
I was gonna give it to her, but then ska music started playing, and now Gwen Stefani has magical powers. She wasn't ready for this.
So I'd like to do a separate video on this, but Yang seems to be projecting a lot of Blake onto Raven.
Yeah, there was a scene there. And it was
so Yang says that Tai told Yang that Raven fought for what she believed in, whether that was her team or her tribe and all of this stuff. And that, then Yang goes on to say that, you know, but all Raven does is run away from people and push people away, and that's not strength. Those aren't her exact words, but you guys watch the episode. Paraphrase, right? So that seems to be a really big projection onto Blake. And we did a video of the...
I mean, it works for both of them, really.
For
but it's
both
funny.
Of them? What do you mean?
It
works for Raven, but...
It also works for Blake.
Yeah, and so I feel like that she's over-exemplifying her mother's traits in order to fit more with Blake. Because we did a video on this, and we did a Stark Generation Theory video, and I had put Blake in the spot of Crow, more so than Raven. And then I put either Yang in Tai Yang's position, and then Weiss actually in the Raven position. But that was for the future, not the present. So as in the future, Yang will run away from them. But, or Weiss would run away from them. But now I'm starting to think that Yang may be fitting more into the Raven mold, that she may crack under the pressure, because obviously she does take the relic, and then starts sobbing immediately after, because she knows this means her team will be hunted forever and they'll never get a break. So, a bunch of different ideas going on, you know what I mean? And so I think you can make a good case for Weiss being the Raven of the group, for Yang being the Raven of the group, for Blake being the Raven of the group, but I do like my previous analysis better, where it had Weiss pegged in the Raven position, and Crow was kind of who Blake was all about, if that makes sense. But we'll talk about that more in the future when it happens, I suppose. Yeah, so Yang seems to be projecting a little. So Raven says that she doesn't want to be lectured, and she gets really upset. But Yang kind of explains to her that Salem...
I've been emo for so long. Please, Mom, let me have this
That
one.
Salem will never stop hunting her down when she finds out that she gets the relic, and that it won't... It basically won't be able to protect her and her tribe like she thought, because that's basically what she kind of figured, right? You know what I mean? Like, to an extent. That Raven wanted the relic so they could be safe. But Yang is trying to explain that that will not be a safety to her. And that Yang basically says that Raven is afraid of Salem, and that's why she's hiding, but Yang isn't afraid of Salem, and that's why Yang needs to take the relic. And so Raven seems to agree with that to some extent. Because she says, instead of coming after you, they could come after me. Right? Yes. And so I think that's... She's almost protecting her mom, if that makes sense.
Yeah, not only that, but you get, like, she does leave. Raven does leave. And, like, Yang put up a good argument for, like, listen, right, if you really don't want to be bothered with your bullshit, just give it to me. This isn't going to help you. But, I mean, as I think we'll talk about later, we don't exactly know what Raven was doing after we saw that end credit scene.
I don't think that Raven's leaving. I think that she is going to rejoin soon and bring Tai along, and I would like to do, again, a separate video on that.
Of course.
But I just, not that I don't understand why Raven wanted the relic in the first place. But I don't understand why Raven couldn't use it and then just go home. Like, just, okay, well, let me use it for a quick second. Yeah, we don't know what it does.
It might just be like a back massage or something. Who knows? But
you know what I'm saying? Like, why couldn't Raven just, like, touch it for a minute? And then give it to her.
Just touch it a little.
Yeah. And so, I do like how Raven cries, though, when she does see that Yang is putting herself into this situation, because I feel like she feels like that she's looking at herself from, like, maybe 20 years ago.
Yeah.
That Raven, or even Summer, made this sort of sacrifice, and it never worked out well, so to say, right? And so I feel like that's why she goes to get Tai, because she says, your daughter's a fucking idiot, we have to go and stop her, right? That's the kind of vibe that I get, but again, I want to talk about that separately.
After her father. God damn you.
But yeah, I don't know, like, I don't think that Raven's done. You know what I mean?
No, she's been too good this season to just let her go.
I don't think she's done, and I don't think that she necessarily wants the relic, but now, judging by her crying, I think that she really sees a lot of strength in Yang. And I think that she is actually concerned over Yang's well-being now because she went to Tai, right? Because she can only make portals to people she's connected to. And so, the only way for her to get back into, like, Mistral is for her to teleport back to Crow anyway. Unless she wants to fly all the way there, right?
Which, I mean, she's a bird. She can
Yeah, she can. But, yeah, that's basically what I'm trying to say. Is, I don't think that she's done yet, and I think that, Yang kind of almost sacrificed herself in a way, and you know what? I don't think that Raven wanted to take it in the end of the day. Like, I think that she only was taking it in a sense
because she had no other option.
Yeah, and then Yang gave her another option, and she was like, "Well, my work is done." Exactly. You took the words right out of my mouth.
This seems like a better alternative. See ya.
Like, she only did that because she thought she didn't have another choice, but Yang is that other choice. And I think that that other choice will be amplified by maybe, Raven being able to hang out with them for a bit, if that makes sense. Like, Raven teleporting back with them and stuff.
Hang out with them. You're not allowed at our
like,
table
bringing Tai and herself to Crow, to an extent. Like, I feel like that's gonna be sort of like Raven coming back, and she can just go back and forth to check on the tribe and whatever. You know what I mean? So yeah, there's that. But yeah, I do really like that Yang grabs it and is crying because she realizes that, like, this means that her and Blake and obviously the other members of the team, that they're gonna be hunted forever and they can't stop fighting until this is won. You know what I mean? So she's kind of like making it so her mom kind of avoids going through the past 20 years or so over again. But this is a new generation of people that are hurt, so I think that's really interesting. Leo's dead. Probably.
Yeah,
so I knew Leo was gonna die. It was really only a matter of time. A lot of people are mad because he had a cool weapon, allegedly. I don't think his weapon's that cool.
Allegedly. That's funny.
Like, it's basically a Yu-Gi-Oh arm thing,
yeah,
and that's kind of fucking nerdy, so whatever.
The Yu-Gi-Oh arm comparison, that's hilarious.
So I really like that scene, first of all. I knew that he was gonna die, I'm not surprised at all. But what made that scene really scary for me was that Salem wasn't talking, and it was just this sort of quiet death,
it's
if
like
that makes sense.
It makes this clicking noise. Like the clickers from Last of Us.
Yeah, like, the Grimm never talk. Or the Grimm never talk. The Grimm doesn't really make that much noise, and all you really hear is Lionheart trying to plead for his life while Salem doesn't say anything.
He sort of sits back and looks bored.
And, like, as Lionheart is getting dragged away, there's basically, like, little to no sound coming from Salem. Like, that's what makes it creepy for me, that this Grimm doesn't make any noise other than Lionheart whimpering. Like, there's not really...
Noise.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, in general, it's not growling or anything. It's not a monster, it's just silent. Like, that's scary for me.
And the second Salem stops talking, like, you hear the crackling noise. And it's the fact that Salem stops talking and then he knows he's dead. Like, Salem doesn't waste her breath on people that are gonna die, almost. Like, that's a good not metaphor, but that's a good way to describe her personality. Like how my mom said at the hairdresser, that I only, like, talk to people when I deem them worthy of my presence. Or whatever my mom said. Salem basically did the same thing right there, so... So you're both narcissists. That's cool.
Yeah, so Lionheart being dragged away was great.
Okay.
Yeah, that was nice. So RWBY tries to talk to them a third, not once, not twice, but like a third or fourth at least time to Emerald. Like, please just stop. And I'm like... We talked about this in the video I did about, RWBY getting
Maybe she just doesn't want senseless murder, Cal.
Yeah, about RWBY developing, but the thing is, like, you already asked twice, okay? They're not just gonna stop because you asked nicely. Like, I get it that that's in her nature, but at the same time, just...
But Emerald kind of already did when Yang walks up, she drops her stuff.
Yeah, but that's a bit that's a different, for a different reason.
I guess that's true.
That's not Emerald surrendering, that's her being very, very upset.
Because her GF is dead.
So RWBY tries to talk them down again, and Emerald says that Cinder won't let them down, and that she'll come up and basically whip your asses.
My dad can beat up your dad. Anyways, yeah. And then Yang comes up.
Yeah.
And
so I actually want to talk about that more in depth, I think.
Of course you do.
Comparisons between Adam, something that's said about Adam later, and then obviously what's happened to Cinder, but that's another story. So I think Emerald's development is super interesting here, because as soon as she starts to see Yang, she starts crying, because she knows that something has happened to Cinder, but she doesn't know what. And Blake and Yang, or Blake sees Yang and has this, like, look of relief on her face almost, or like, oh, that's my girl. Like, it's a very nice, like, wholesome expression, if that makes sense. Like, it's nice facial expression. Yeah, so Emerald basically makes something fucking horrifying.
Yeah, she makes Salem.
Somebody asked if I was scared when I saw that, and I was like, not really. I don't think that I looked scared in the reaction. Anyway.
I felt it, like, deep in my soul. That didn't feel good. It was so creepy.
So
and
obviously that's something
that
that looks like Salem, and Ruby was basically shaking after she saw it,
yeah,
while Rice raised her sword, and Blake was like, the fuck? Because Blake doesn't know what's going on, right?
I was really hoping that, like, you'd see Jean and he'd be peeing himself, but I digress. I didn't get what I wanted.
Sad. So...
And then Oscar's just like, that's Salem. And I'm like, to be fair, regularly, Salem's more of a mom and less of a giant demon. But that is fucking like the crackling and her
Ren did say that it was an illusion. Well, did Ren say that, or was that Ozpin?
It was Crow.
Oh. All three of my guesses were wrong. Okay. So yeah, obviously
I think it was
you have
that. What would the shopkeep doing here? Anyways, I hope the shopkeep ends up being like a maiden. Anyways.
So yeah, obviously... That's very interesting development for Emerald, and I'd like to do another video on it, but obviously that's not who Salem is. That is what she sees Salem as, and I think that's kind of terrifying that we see Salem as a sort of monster, but when Emerald imagines her in this moment of very intense emotional stress because Cinder is dead, that is how she sees Salem, as this, like, twisted monster, and I feel like that's very powerful. We never know
that maybe, like, she can be spooky sometimes, and we just saw her in her mom modes.
But you know what I mean, too? Like, it's all about the psyche and stuff. Okay. Yes. So yeah, Blake, okay, so, Hazel grabbed Emerald, and I guess that's when they made their escape. Adam is just creeping in the woods, like, oh, I guess I gotta go join them now.
He's at his brooding tree, just hanging out.
Like, oh, there's my new band of misfits, it's fine. So I like how, Blake's family is there, everything's okay. So this is the line that I want to, do an Adam and Cinder comparison on, is that Ilya said, that the white, like, none of the Faunus are gonna support a leader who abandons them. And so that's the line that I want to talk about, for an Adam and Cinder. No, but that's what I'm saying, and I'm saying that in that line, you obviously find out a lot about Adam, but you also can use that as an Emerald and Cinder comparison, right? That, because they don't know what happened to Cinder.
I also hadn't realized.
I also like how Gira's like, we gotta make a new White Fang, and I was just like, okay, Gira. Like, you already made another, like, how many White Fangs, Gira? Like, anyway.
First, you don't succeed, but also, like, sometimes, anyways.
I like how Sun twisted Blake around to go see Yang. Like, Yang ships the bees, too. Or, just Yang. Yeah. Sun ships the bees is what I was trying to say. But yeah, that was just a nice little moment, because I think that Sun recognizes, like, hey, like, you know, I'm gonna try to force you over there because you kind of need to face Yang right now, because Blake was kind of saying how she felt like she, not that she failed Yang, but she kept putting Yang in danger back in Volume 4, so I feel like that's a very powerful thing for Sun to do. Yeah, so Sun ships Bumblebee, it's okay. But yeah, in reality, like, that was a nice little friendship thing that he did.
It was so nice.
I was supportive, I should say. It was supportive and wholesome and very sweet. I really am enjoying Sun's characterization. That's why I feel like we need to do a Bumblebee update video, because we had done it in a place, or a Bumblebee, well yeah, Bumblebee and Black Sun. Like, we had done the video in a place where Sun was getting some questionable development, but now, I think RWBY has really improved in terms of the writing, in terms of the character development stuff. Like, no one has done anything cringy this season.
My favorite sort of rude thing, RWBY thing, was that RWBY used to be a show with great action and shit fighting. Now it has both. I'm like, fair enough.
But you know what I mean, right? In the character development department for this volume, developing new and old characters has been very good. Would you agree? And so I feel like that they finally almost decided what they wanted with Sun's character, and they went for it. Are you paying attention to me?
Of course not.
Hunter.
Yes, anyways. Hunter, alright, yes, no, I agree with you. I've said this many times in the past.
And we did a video about Sun's improved characterization, but this really proves it to me that they are trying to go for, like, a sweet boy with some edge, if that makes sense.
Edge? What edge?
Like how not edgy, like, I mean, like, edge as in, like, a little snark.
With a twist, anyways.
A little snark, I mean, like how he was, like, where? Like how he said that to Adam, like, where? And then Adam was like, what, fuckboy? And then Sun was just like, where's the rest of your fucking team?
I'm really glad you don't write RWBY, because where fuckboy would have definitely made it into the script.
It wouldn't have.
Yes.
I have never written that ever.
I don't trust you. I don't believe you.
But you understand what I'm saying?
I've read
because
your writing.
I feel
this
like
is the
I feel like
Cal
before
portion of the show.
They were very confused about what to do with Sun's characterization, but now they finally figured it out, and it's actually pretty good. Because I feel like with Sun, like the sweet boy, but obviously he has like some little snarky bits to him. Like I feel like I wanted John to be like this, like the sweet boy, but like Deku from My Hero Academia, and that didn't happen. So I'm glad.
Like Jean, but likable. Yeah, I know.
So I'm glad that Sun is getting likable now, and I'm proud of them. I feel like they finally figured out how to do characterization for characters, and like I'm glad if it's taken them this long, it's okay. So. Yeah, Yang is gone. Okay, so Yang says Cinder is gone, Vernal is dead, and then Yang also lies about Raven. So I want to do a video on why I think she lied, but I think it's a very interesting choice that she would lie about it, because I think I actually brought that up in our conversation video, that Yang wouldn't tell anybody what happened in the basement. Remember how I said that?
I don't remember that, although I believe you probably did.
Remember?
I don't specifically.
I did!
I know you probably did, I just don't specifically remember. Anyway.
Okay.
Listen, Cal, I understand that this is the only place you get any sense of self-worth from. But, yeah, anyway.
Like, this makes it... This means a lot to me.
I can tell.
If that makes sense. So... Anyway... I like how RWBY was being a bit of a weirdo. Like, not that she was being a weirdo, like, I don't want to put it like that, but RWBY was like, so Blake, what are you doing here? And I like that RWBY is still socially awkward. That makes sense. Like, that's a very socially awkward thing to say, if that makes sense. And so, yeah, I appreciated that. That was nice. And I like how Blake was like, yeah, I was gonna say the same thing to you guys. Like, she's kind of humoring RWBY and RWBY's awkwardness. Then I like how, you know, Blake's like, well, I'm not going anywhere. Like, it's a very awkward reunion, but it makes sense for it to be, and that's really nice. And I like how, you know... RWBY was kind of like, oh, well, that's important. What's important is we're all together, right, Yang? Like, she didn't say that, but that's a vibe that her kind of, that her statements kind of gave off, right? And so that's kind of where the song starts, is that Blake is grabbing her arm. She looks really nervous because I think she expects to be chewed out by Yang. But then Yang obviously accepts her, and I feel like that's when the song is playing. The song is very nice. It's a very nice song. It's a very gay song, maybe. Yeah, and so
look at how happy Blake looks. She's happy because it's gay. It's gay.
Now we're going to Atlas.
Yes, as
because
we were told
Ozpin told us to.
Ozpin.
Yeah, he was just like, I'm taking a nap.
I'm taking a nap, guys. I'm like 12. Come on now.
Yeah, and so then they all get into a group hug, and then when they get out of the hug, you see that Blake is giving this smile to Yang, and it's all very cute. And the end song happens, and that's kind of where we're at now. So I need lyrics to analysis the end song, but I will be doing that. So, good job for me, I guess. I don't know what else to say. And then the end credit scene. So, Raven sees Ty. And that's it. No, like, Raven doesn't see Ty. Ty sees Raven, I should say. Ty sees a feather. Ty sees Raven. So I want to do a separate video on that, obviously, because we do a separate video for pretty much everything nowadays.
Which hurts, but I digress.
But yeah, I think that basically what's gonna happen, like I sort of already explained, is that Raven is going to be like, hey Ty, your fuck up of a daughter is trying to kamikaze yourself with the relic, or whatever, right? And, hey, why don't we go and rescue her? And then, Ty's gonna be like, okay, great. And so that is kind of where they're gonna get to Atlas, and then, Ty and Raven are just gonna come through a portal and be like, hello, bitches. And that's what's gonna happen. So, Hunter, final thoughts. So do you want to talk about the volume as a whole for a minute, or save that for something else?
Oh my god, how many extra videos do you want to do, Carol? It depends.
I don't know.
If you weren't content with 17 and decided you want 18.
Well, what do you think? Like, do you have a lot to say about the entire volume?
I mean, I could wrap it. I mean, I can be
like,
brief.
just, yeah, be brief about it, because I feel like we should rewatch it all to give our, like, final thoughts. Like, just,
okay.
Like, our final thoughts. But yeah, I really enjoyed this volume. It had me going in some places, but you know what? I said that if things were fucking cliche, and if things were horrible in this last episode, I would have no more faith in Miles and Carrie. That's what I said. Because everybody thought that Cinder was gonna come back and kill Raven, and Yang would get the maiden power. Like, that was the ongoing sort of thingy, and that was
I thought
awful.
It made it look like at the end, like, before she does the big, scary, spooky...
That Emerald was gonna be like...
we're gonna get red eyes, but no, nothing.
I mean, maybe later.
Maybe
if
later.
Cinder's not dead.
It
depends.
If Cinder comes back with even less body parts than before.
Yeah. So, I think that, I really enjoyed... I said that, again, I said... If they fucked this last episode up, I would have no more faith in them, but if they did everything right... I would finally believe in them wholeheartedly, and I would try not to doubt them anymore. So I'm not gonna doubt them next season.
Also,
if that makes sense.
No Neo. Still, Neo Watch 2018. We've gone to another day.
Anyways, so that's basically what I want to say most, is that I told you guys, like, time and time again, if they do this, like, they're in trouble, sort of thing. But now I have a lot more faith in them. They seem to understand what narratively is good for the story and are trying to clean up past mistakes. Of course, they aren't perfect, and we are gonna do, like, obviously during the hiatus, we are gonna talk about some nitpicks, let's be honest. During the hiatus.
Yeah, I know, but
we're not doing 10 videos a week again, like, you know what I mean? Like, we are gonna still go over this volume and kind of, like, refine, get all the content we can out of it.
I really liked it. I mean,
I really enjoyed it. This is the best.
We've been known to beat dead horses on this channel.
This is the best volume for me, I think. Just because, again, I only have 2 volumes to go off of recording-wise, because we didn't, Hunter and I binged, well, Hunter didn't binge, but Hunter and I only started recording from Volume 4 and Volume 5, and in terms of Volume 4 to Volume 5 comparison, Volume 5 is much better, and I feel like they basically did everything right. There's nothing I can think of where I was like, that was so wrong and horrible. Like, if they killed Ilya, they would have been canceled. If, like, something else bad happened, like the Cinder thing that I explained, they would have been canceled. But, like, they did everything correctly, in my opinion. And so, yeah, I'm gonna have more faith in them from now on. I'm not gonna be worried all the time anymore. I will probably still be like, okay, so this is the cliche option, but I won't be like, Miles and Carrie are definitely taking that, because they've kind of proved that they're not going to, and I feel like that's really nice. And we should support them. I mean, we were already supporting them, but we should have more faith in them, so to say. We should have more faith. And so, yeah, that's just kind of all I wanted to say. I don't think that we're gonna do, like, a big, like, what did we think of Volume 6 video anytime soon, because you guys can just watch all of these and you find out real fast. But I would like to just sit down and kind of rewatch everything on my own time, and get inspiration for videos from that, and yeah. So that's kind of all I wanted to say. I hope that's fine. I guess until next year, guys. I mean, I say that, but that's just if you're watching the analysis.
For another 8 hours.
Yeah.
Doing more videos about this season.
Yeah. So I hope
I woke up at 5:30 this day. I've been working till noon.
This morning. I hope that you guys enjoy.
I fucking hate everyone. This show is wonderful, but Cal, you make me do things.
We will see you guys later. Bye, guys.